Welcome to Think Tech, raising public awareness about technology, energy, globalism, and diversification. As part of the Think Tech series, this show is the Arts in Hawaii. I am Donna Blanchard, the very proud managing director of Kumukuhua Theater, and your host. And joining me today is my guest, artistic director and general manager of the Hawaii Theater, Burton White. We are going to talk about life in general at the Hawaii Theater. And remember that we broadcast live on the internet at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 4 o'clock every weekday. All of our shows are streamed on ustream.tv and Spreaker.com. And if you would like links to any of our shows, any of the archived shows, go to thinktechhawaii.com. If you'd like to join us in our studio audience at any time, just send an email to j@thinktechhawaii.com. Burton White has been involved in professional theatrical production, management, and consultation for over 4 decades. Impossible to
I know,
believe.
it's hard to believe, right?
And he has served as the artistic director and general manager of the historic Hawaii Theater for the past 17 years, and is a proud member of Actors Equity, the union that represents actors and stage managers on Broadway and throughout the United States. Welcome, Mr. White.
Mahalo, aloha.
I am just honored and tickled pink to have you here.
I'm tickled pink to be here.
Good.
Thanks for asking
And
me.
happy holidays to you.
Mahalo. Happy holidays to you too.
Thank you. Let's start off by talking about what is going on at the Hawaii Theater right now. What have you just done?
Sure.
And are getting ready.
We just finished on last Sunday. We just finished a Casimiro Christmas, which is our annual Christmas show with the Brothers Casimiro and Halal Nakamaleu o Lili Lehua, the ladies of the Royal Dance Company. And we always feature the winners of the Miss and Master Keiki Hula contest. And then, of course, our special guest this year was Lehua Kalima. So we ran for 3 performances at the theater and was very well attended. Thanks, everybody. And it was very successful on a number of different levels.
Fabulous.
And coming up, we have a number of membership events that we're doing for members of the Hawaii Theater, both tonight and also on Sunday, the 22nd. And then we're also shooting scenes for the new Cameron Crowe movie that is finishing filming right now, tonight through Friday, depending on the weather. And then on the 28th of this month, we're doing a fundraiser for Philippine Relief at the theater. And Emmy Temmenbaum is putting together a wonderful cast of folks to entertain, and also I think for the community to say thank you for the things that people have done so far. Coming up in January, we have the well-known national comedian Mike Epps. Coming up at the theater, we have David Sedaris, and we have Sylvia McNair coming up in January. No stranger to Broadway folks, and also no stranger to opera folks. So she's coming up. She's going to do a recital, which is going to be presented by Hawaii Opera Theater. And then Ballet Hawaii, I think in February, is Bad Boys of Dance is going to return with a new program for Ballet Hawaii. And in the meantime, we have many things going on, hawaiitheater.com.
Okay.
That's the best way.
That was you did really well.
Thank you.
And I just want to add, there was no teleprompter here. That was
Okay.
you did all of that. You have such a wonderfully eclectic collection of pieces that you do at the theater, and then you also produce some of your own shows.
Yes, we license the use of the theater for people that want to come or looking for a venue to produce shows. So that's like the Hawaii Opera Theater event or the Ballet Hawaii event. And then we also, the theater itself, produces and presents shows. So this coming June, Pat Sajak and Joe Moore will return doing a live performance of Wrestling Ernest Hemingway, and that would be one of the ones that we produce at the theater. Also our annual Christmas show. For 11 years we did a Merry Christmas with Friends and Neighbors with Jim Neighbors, and now we're doing a Casimiro Christmas. I think this year was our 5th anniversary of doing that. And Then I go in January to New York to the Association of Performing Arts Presenters conference, and that's where I go and look at new shows that are in the pipeline, see what will fit in our theater, see what might resonate with our audiences, and then we'll present some of those shows throughout the 13-14 season.
What sort of thing? You said you had special things for your members. What?
Sure, if you're a member of the Hawaii Theater this evening, for our premier members, we're having a cocktail party with some light entertainment, and it's just a way to say thank you, not ask them for any money that night, and just get to know each other and listen to people share why they have an interest and support the Hawaii Theater. And then we have a general membership event on Sunday, and it's a movie. And so everybody's going to come and see the movie, and it's free for our members, and, and it's
nice.
closed to the public. So,
How many members do you have?
I think right now we have just over 2,000 members.
Oh, wow. And how many do you seat with everything open?
If everybody showed up, we wouldn't have enough seats. So
Yeah.
we seat 1,400 in the theater, 800 upstairs, 600 downstairs. So yes, if everybody showed up with a guest, we wouldn't be able to.
But that can't happen. So.
Well, it would be a great problem to have.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. At any given time, at least for Kumukuhua Theater, at any given time, a percentage of our subscribers are off the island.
right, and the same thing now with us, and also with the holidays. Some people are like me and not totally prepared that Christmas is next week already, and who knew? I thought I had one more week between the show and Christmas, and I don't.
Yeah, that realization struck me last week, and I fly out tonight, actually. So it hit me hard.
Good for you. I didn't realize it until yesterday morning, as I was saying, well, next Wednesday, and my staff looked at me and they were saying, it's Christmas. And I was like, no, Christmas is the week after. That wasn't the case.
Well, you wear a couple of really big hats at the theater, and then more so. I mean, your title, artistic director and general manager, that's two different brains.
It
Don't you
is,
think?
my right and left side. And I like to think that I have balanced them. And I think it's something that in my career in theater has always made me exceptionally marketable. And I've never had to really look for a job. And I just see both sides as variation of a theme. Kind of thing. So the artistic direction part is just making sure that the standards of the productions at the theater are of a minimum, and that knowing the difference between doing, I don't know, can we say any words? Or
Let it fly. There's
Okay.
no FCC here.
All right. So, and just to give it as an example, to know the difference between a piece such as the vagina monologues, as opposed to the genital manipulation of puppetry of the penis. So one I would think is one I have presented at the theater, and one I probably wouldn't choose myself. If somebody wanted to bring it in, I guess I might think about it once or twice, but theater's really not a place for censorship, but there's I look for gratuitous nature, and if I see gratuitous nature, I'm not sure that that's always appropriate to, and other than that, I look at our lovely island home and the different cultural populations, and I also try to make sure that everybody has something of their own culture represented at the theater, whether it's Japanese, Korean, Filipino, Eastern European, Western European, whatever, and certainly Hawaiian. We have a vibrant Hawaiian programming series, but those are my artistic responsibilities. The general management of operating a 52-week-a-year theater and having 160, 170 events, and the logistics of scheduling and things like that. That's not my most fun part, but fortunately, I'm good at it. So, as far as the logistical side, it's one of the reasons why I became a stage manager, because one, they made more money than I made as a dancer, and the second thing is that it challenges a different part of me that likes an order, and I have no problem telling people where to go and when.
That's a very different zone to get into, and I appreciate that. I am definitely, both sides of my brain like to be active, and I'm definitely skewing toward the analytical, the linear side, the logical
you know
side
exactly, because you do the exact same thing. You know, it goes back to the adage, they call it show business, not show art. So you can sit on one side and just worry about art, but as an administrator, you have to worry about the fiscal well-being of your organization, and you need to pay that equal homage, or it won't matter how great your art is, because you won't be able to do it anymore. So it's kind of the necessary skill set for us to have.
What's your, and I don't mean to put you on the spot with this, the mission of the theater? What's your mission?
The elevator version, the 4-second version, is preserving yesterday, performing today, and preparing for tomorrow. And the preserving yesterday gives homage to our historic presence. We're a historic American theater, actually voted one of the outstanding historic American theaters in the country by the League of Historic American Theaters. Performing today, obviously, that's the current programming and live performance. And then the preparing for tomorrow really pays tribute to our educational program. We have a wonderful, wonderful education director, Eden Lee Murray. And as part of our education program, we offer a student matinee series, but we also concentrate on dramatic training for students, and we have what we call the Hawaii Theater Young Actors Ensemble, and then there's the Junior Ensemble. The Junior Ensemble is geared toward kids in junior high school, and the Young Actors Ensemble is geared toward the youth in senior high school. And they come twice a week during the school year. And in December, we just finished last Monday, we just did an R&P where they were able to present the scene work, the Shakespearean scene work that they've been working on up until this point. And then in January, we will go into rehearsals for Much Ado About Nothing, which the theater fully produces for these kids. Full sets, lights, costumes, everything. And the kids do a lot of the work too. We have an apprenticeship program that deals with young people that are interested in technical careers in the theater. And those people that are interested in acting, we find them on the stage. So that program is what the Preparing for Tomorrow is. It's cultivating a group of people that will remember the Hawaii Theater fondly, and hopefully in the future, after they started on their careers and dealt with their families, that they'll come back and be avid supporters of the theater. So that we're only temporary stewards, as you know, we're only temporary stewards of the theater organizations that we have, and we want them to exist for a long time. So we have to always pay attention to the development aspects of both audience and support.
Right. I love it that you have that program. Eden Lee was a guest here.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And the work that she is doing with those kids, they are so lucky. They're so lucky to be able to be working with her and to have the experience of working in a theater as magnificent as yours, you know, and just to be on that stage, and that's really beautiful. And whoops, there goes my microphone. And we are very grateful at Kumukuhua Theater. We're very grateful that you do that. That's not what we do. That's not where we're headed. It's not a part of our mission. We're doing what we can to develop the young playwrights. But we need you to continue that program.
And I'm a supporter of Kumukuhua, and that's one of the things I love about Kumukuhua is the part of your mission that deals with new playwrights, and because you know, none of us can do it all really well, so if we each take a piece collectively, we can have a major impact on our community.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at some of the community theater work that's done, John Rampage, and the musical theater work that's done at Diamond Head Theater, the dramatic work that's done, playwriting work that's done at Kumukuhua, and UH, the academic departments, you start to see the impact that we all have together on making sure that we can actually produce some pretty well-rounded talent.
And well-rounded opportunities for audience but also for the actors,
Absolutely.
artists to experience. You know, when I asked you about your mission, there are times at Kumukuhua we have a pretty detailed mission, and there are still times when we reach decisions in which you look to the mission for your answers, and sometimes it's still not cut and dried. So I would imagine a lot of what you are doing when you are going to New York and taking a look at those shows that you can possibly bring in. There's a certain taste that you just have to be the I don't know, the
Kind of the
patron
arbiter of, yeah.
Yeah.
The you're right. I gave you the elevator version. The bigger version is that, you know, we concentrate on trying to add to the revitalization of downtown, so that the economic revitalization of downtown, of which the theater's been a major anchor for the last 18 years. And we also, our board of directors just finished a strategic planning statement where they also provided me with a vision and a values statement. So I have all of these things to help me cook up whatever I want. They give me a great recipe set of items to refer to. So
Cool. Wonderful. We're going to go to our first break.
sure.
We will be right back. This is the Arts in Hawaii. We are in Pioneer Plaza in the heart of downtown Honolulu and very close to Kumukuhua Theater. We'll be right back.
We want to thank our underwriters.
Hawaiian Electric Company and its affiliates Maui Electric on Maui and Hawaii Electric Light Company on Hawaii Island are deeply committed to the communities they serve.
Galen Ho is a senior executive of BAE Systems, a global defense, security, and aerospace company.
The High-Tech Development Corporation, the state's leading technology agency, attached to the Department of Business, Economic Development, and Tourism.
Castle and Cook Hawaii, with a time-honored legacy that spans more than 160 years and revolves around its mission of investing in Hawaii, creating communities, and providing for the needs of our state.
Hawaii Gas, formerly the Gas Company, a proponent of the Liquefied Natural Gas Initiative, helping Hawaii achieve its transition to clean energy and a better energy future.
Collateral Analytics, a Hawaii-based tech company empowering the real estate industry with greater and faster access to the tools and data they need to make better informed property investment decisions.
I'm Nicole Horry. Thanks so much for joining us on Think Tech.
I'm Maria Kashem. See you next time.
Hi, we're back and we're live. This is the Arts in Hawaii on the Think Tech Hawaii digital series. I am Donna Blanchard, Managing Director of Kumukuhua Theater, and I am talking with Burton White, who is the General Manager and Artistic Director of the Hawaii Theater. And we're enjoying the conversation. It's like sitting here talking with my brother.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. Let's talk about, let me hear some of the history. Let me hear about your history, first of all. What brought you there? You've been there for 17 years. Mm-hmm. What led up to that?
Well, I have had an interest in theater since I was very young, and I started tap dancing at the age of 7, and by 11 I was getting paid for it. And I continued tap dancing throughout my high school career. When I was in dramatics in high school, we still had arts in the high schools then, something that I'm very disappointed in the educational system now, that we don't value the arts as much as they did when we were growing up, especially in Middle America. We always had a lot of it. And then, you know, I started performing, and then I started noticing people would make more, and I went from a performer to a stage manager, and then from a stage manager to a director, and then from a director to a producer. I had my bucket list of the things I wanted to do before what time. And I come from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and it's a very wonderful theater town with a whole lot of resources available to you. Went to the University of Pittsburgh for theater, and then I was did a stint in New York, did a stint in California, went back to New York, and when I was in New York, then I was asked by a friend of mine, Tommy Aguilar, and Danny Herman, who I had known from doing shows at the Pittsburgh Playhouse, and they asked me to come to Hawaii to do Dreamgirls at the theater before it was renovated. It was not in very good shape, and this was October of 1989. I came out, we did the show. It was very interesting. There were a lot of different types of critters that were in. I noticed that everybody in the audience always had their feet up on the chairs and back of them just in case. We don't have that problem anymore. And I fell in love with the place, not only the theater, but the place, Hawaii, and the people.
Yeah.
And I found it very similar to, but in a different way, but similar to the neighborhood feeling I got from my hometown of Pittsburgh, where there'd be like enclaves of Italians or different ethnic groups that had come to work in the steel mills. And out here, that now I get presented with Japanese and Korean and Filipino, and obviously I love to eat, so that was my big entree into everything. And so I came in, I did that show, and we had a union orchestra for that show, and I went back to Pittsburgh, and that's when I first met Sarah Richards, the president of the Hawaii Theater, and she had just been hired, I think, about 2 weeks before. And I bought my first t-shirt, and Sarah and I kept in contact over the years, but when I went back home, I got a call from folks from the musicians unions asking if I would be interested in coming out and doing a consultation with the Honolulu Symphony to try to take their Pops concerts and basically Disney them up a little bit. They used to be very white light, very formal, and they wanted something a little bit more exciting because they certainly had great people performing. The orchestra was wonderful, and then you had great people like Jimmy Borges and Emma Veary and Jim Neighbors that would sing with them. And I mean, so they just kind of wanted it to look a little different. So I came out and did a consultation with the symphony. Tony DiCario was there. And then the symphony asked if I would be interested in being hired full-time to kind of carry out my final report. And so I worked with the symphony 90, 91 until the big strike of 1992. So I was the director of operations, which was the #2 position at the symphony. And then I went back and I did a tour of Bye Bye Birdie, and I did a tour of Peter Pan, and then around 1995, 94, I got a call from Sarah who said, we're getting ready to put the technical package and I need a theater man here to help us get it right. And so I came out. Mary Bishop was the theater consultant at the time. Sarah was the executive director. Claire Engel and Ray Engel were, I think they were the heads of the board of directors at the time. And that's how I started at the theater officially. Oh, and wow. Then, so I was there starting in 1995. We opened in 96. We had a theater manager previous to me for about 18 months. And when he left, then they asked me if I was interested in taking over the theater manager, the artistic director and general management position, which at that time I was.
Awesome.
And that's kind of how it's, that's kind of how that
that's how that works.
Out. Yes.
So you were in there, I didn't realize that you were attached to the renovation that way.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, one of the things, sometimes when theater architects and theater consultants get it wrong is when they make decisions that from their points of view make sense, but from a practical theatrical user's point of view, there are things that they're not aware of. Mm-hmm. And so fortunately the theater was very smart in bringing in theater people. One, we had a great architect with Malcolm Holzman from Hardy Holzman Pfeiffer in New York. That's the same architecture firm that redid the New Amsterdam for Disney on 42nd Street and did the Old Liberty Theater also on 42nd Street. Mary Bishop had been the theater consultant for the Ohio Theater restoration, and so she knew things from that point of view. And we were a pretty good team. Pretty good. Everybody respected everybody. And so when I said, but when you do this, it's easier to have this here and here instead of just over here, they would say fine, and we would incorporate the changes. And so, yeah, it was very successful. It was very successful.
And the stage management, I would imagine the stage management experience that you had was
Well, that's
really.
yes. That's being a stage manager. I have a high regard for all my colleagues in stage management. You know, the stage manager is the hub of the wheel during any production, because that is where the acting the talent, the different departments, the rigging department, the audio department, the video department, the lighting department, the set department, that's where they all merge with the stage manager. So it's a great vantage point to see the fabric of your production, and to see how, if you get a snag in one, how it translates someplace else in the fabric of the show, someplace else that you might not normally think had any impact. Say, if the costumer doesn't talk to the lighting designer about color, and then you find out when the costume designer puts their costumes on stage, and then the lighting designer puts their color on the costumes, once beautiful costumes then look washed out and horrible.
Yeah.
And I have had that happen, but not at the Hawaii Theater.
Oh.
Earlier.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize the incredible amount of responsibility that the stage manager has, that they really are the go-to for everyone, and they don't have to be the one to create the artistry to make the decisions about what it should look like, but they have to maintain it.
That's right. You know, it's the thing about, we just went through that again at the Christmas show. Robert Casimiro and I he sits as the director and choreographer. I also sit as a co-director with him, because I take care of all the artistic aspects of the show. Other than that, I also sit as the executive producer, but the decisions on when cues are and what the light cues look like, Robert tells me what the costumes are going to be, and I light it so that I know that that's going to happen. So the company is used to us after rehearsals sitting down for notes. You want to enter earlier here, so Robert gives his notes, I give my notes. We have some new gents in the Hello this year, and they had never done a Christmas show with us before. And so after opening night, they were all ready to go out into the house after the audience left for notes. And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I should have told you that, you know, we give you notes up until opening night. And once opening night is finished, the only person you're going to get notes from is the stage manager, and I'll give those to you personally or post them on the call board." You know, the director hands the show to the stage manager and fully trusts the stage manager to maintain the director's vision throughout the rest of the run.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. Most people aren't cognizant of that. As a matter of fact, you know, if we do our jobs right, they don't have any idea of anything that went into it. It's
Right.
like this magical thing where the curtain goes up and the show just magically appears. Then the curtain goes down, it comes up the second half, and it's different. It just magically appears. They're not supposed to be cognizant of how it happens.
Yeah.
They're just supposed to submit.
We should have put a disclaimer at the top of the show that the spoiler alert. We're going to take you behind the curtain.
Yeah.
It's like accidentally going to the back entrance at
Well,
Disney
now,
or something.
when you watch a show, I know you're supposed to be interviewing me, but when you watch a show the first time, say a show not at your theater, but a show at another theater, can you submit to that show, or do you look to see how things are done, or do you look at...
If it's good, I can
Yes.
submit to it. If it's not, my mind starts wandering all over backstage.
My problem is that I can't ever see a show once. When I go to Broadway shows, I see everything at least twice. The first time, I'm just, how did they do that? How did they do that? Is there a new technique? Is there a new technology? But the second time, I can submit to it and suspend my disbelief. But I can't do it the first time. Unlike a movie, if I'm in a movie and they say there are giant ants from space coming down and eating the earth, I'm scared to death. When I walk out of the theater, I'm looking for giant ants. I can totally suspend my disbelief in movies, but I can't do it in live performance.
That's interesting. Because I will see it the first time, and if it's good, if the pieces are all there and it's clicking along, then I belong to it, you know. And then I will go home and process, and I'll think, oh, what about this and what about that? And wow, she really nailed that. That was awesome. And the way the light changed, I thought there was a costume change, but it was just the lighting, you know. that sort of thing, I will process later, and then I'll want to go back and reabsorb that. But yeah, opposite. And if a show is not clicking on all cylinders, shall we say? I tried to make an automotive analogy there, and I didn't do very well. But if it's hitting all cylinders, if it's not, then I'm analyzing why. Why is that not working?
I had a friend that flew in for the Christmas show from the mainland, and he had just gone to Broadway and had just seen Sound of Music. And of course, Sound of Music hasn't gotten the critical notice that one might want for a show. And I said, well, I was going to see it, and he was like, don't even bother, but I learned so much more from bad shows than I do from good shows. I make a note, never do that, never do that, never do that. So I'm actually excited, and I believe it'll probably pull itself out at some point.
I hope it does. It's too iconic not to.
Yes,
I
indeed.
hope. We have to take another break. We'll be right back. This is the Arts in Hawaii on the Think Tech Hawaii digital series, and we'll be right back. I said that twice.
Aloha, I'm Nicole Horry for Think Tech. For nearly half a century, the Hawaii Foreign Trade Zone No. 9 has brought the benefits of the Foreign Trade Zone program to Hawaii businesses and entrepreneurs. DBET, the Department of Business, Economic Development, and Tourism, operates Hawaii's Foreign Trade Zone program to encourage international business and economic development. The Foreign Trade Zone's mission is to increase the amount of international trading activity in Hawaii, thereby providing employment opportunities for the residents of our island state. For more information, see ftz9.org. I'm Nicole Horry. Mahalo.
Hi, we're back and we're live. This is the Arts in Hawaii on the Think Tech Hawaii digital series. I am Donna Blanchard, very proud managing director of Kumukuhoi Theater, and I'm talking with Burton White, who I can tell is the very proud artistic director and general manager of the Hawaii Theater.
I try not to be prideful because it is one of the 7 deadlies, but yes, I am very much.
Oh, I just got nailed, man.
No. You can be proud without being prideful.
I am proud, yes. Okay,
yes.
Okay, good. Then I got that. So let's talk about I really want to hear some of the stories of marvelous people. You must tell the story of Carol Channing you shared with me, if you would please.
Yes, I've been very blessed throughout my career to work with people that were on my icon list, whether it's Carol Channing or of course now when you ask about them, it's hard to put them all. Jim Nabors and recently Patty Duke, just people that you run into. But and they're so great because the bigger icons they are, especially to us theater folks, the bigger icons they are, they're really almost to one amazingly humble and happy that they're allowed to do what they've been allowed to do for the number of years. We did Carol Channing came to the Hawaii Theater and did her show, which was titled The First 80 Years of the Hardest. And you know, Carol has had a very interesting life. She had some bad marriages that took a lot of her money and everything, and then she ended up with her high school sweetheart, Harry, and who recently passed away. But Carol is very interesting. She came, and of course I was excited to meet her, but you know, they kind of expect their stage managers to be stage managers first, and you're going to take care of them. That's all they need to know. So she said, by the way, I need to tell you that, you know, there's a couple things you should know. And I said, what's that, Miss Channing? She said, I can't see and I can't hear. And so I said, okay. And of course, I had called some folks that friends of mine that had worked with her in Hello Dolly, and said, you know, how is she? You know, she's been doing it forever. And they said she never misses a mark. She never misses a beat. And she's always right there and very caring. So I knew I was going to like her. So I said, okay. And she had asked me about she said, I need you to do some things for me. She said, one thing I need you to do is I need you to take spike tape, which is the tape that we mark different positions on the stage. And she said, I need you to mark out in neon colors, please. I need you to mark where I can't go further than. And then I said, okay. And she said, and then tell me, I need one to the right of me and left of me. And I said, okay. So the first rehearsal, I had it all spiked out. And she said, oh, did I tell you I can't see? And I said, yes, ma'am. And she said, can you make those lines bigger? So spike tape is what, 1/4 inch wide? So by the time it got about 2 inches wide, and there were about 5 different neon colors.
It had to look like a runway.
It did. I had a friend of mine that said, who was sitting in the balcony, so from the orchestra level at the Hawaii Theater, you can't really see the spike marks, but up on the balcony, you certainly can. And he said, what was up with the spike tape on the stage? It looked like you could land a space shuttle on it. Exactly what you said. But she was so sweet, and I would watch her, and she, you know, it's the audience, she's there for every person in the audience, and so she wants to be close to them. So she would gravitate front, and then I'd see her look down, and then she'd just shuffle back until she was back below the line, and then she would go front. And then I had talked to my friend afterward that said, you know, she'd actually fallen in the last 10, 12 years twice off the front of the stage by being so much into her performance and so close to the audience that she had taken a tumble. So she was one of the great people. And of course, my favorite thing was I had an answering machine then, and she called up and she did my incoming voicemail message, saying that, you know, you'd reached my house, and that, you know, that we were busy, and that, you know, they could call back later. And she's just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person. And then if she would lose track on stage, Harry would always sit in the 5th row center orchestra, and he would just yell out like cue words to her and prompt her. And then she goes, oh, that's right, because she would start on a story, and then she would make her think of something else, and she would go off. So. And we have those experienced. Loretta Switch, she was great to work with. She did Shirley Valentine at the theater. Uncle Tom Moffat brought her in and did Shirley Valentine. Yes, it was great. It's Carol Burnett, Laughter and Reflections. Carol came and did her show. I've been very fortunate with one-person shows. Nicholas Pennell from the Stratford Shakespeare Festival used to be the stage manager for Variable Passion, which was his one-person show. I enjoy doing one-person shows because they're very intimate, and you really get to know the star.
Oh, yeah.
And you get the backstory and the stories and things like that.
Well, and the support.
Yes.
That has to be intimate. Stage manager, too.
Yes.
To that one person.
Well, because, you know, as Karen Keawe Hawaii can attest to, you know, and in a pinch, when there's something like when your belt pack falls down in a major long dress costume, it's the stage manager that's going to go up under there and put it back where it belongs, and it's hard not to be intimate when you're going under somebody's
You got to appreciate
skirt.
that person.
That's exactly.
What, I'm thinking about Carol Channing. Theater is such hard work. Here we go, but, you know, disclaimer, this is a spoiler alert. It's really hard work. It's physical, and it's always there looming at the end of the day when everybody else is relaxing. You're going to work.
Yes, and you know, when you talk about somebody like Carol Channing or Angela Lansbury, these are folks that have never missed a rehearsal and never missed a performance. And I mean, it's very common on Broadway now to have the Broadway star not do Wednesday matinee, you know,
Right.
maybe not do Saturday matinee, maybe. But that old school, they did every show. They did Wednesday, and they didn't think of, and if they did do it, there was a reason behind it. I remember the story. Lenora Nemetz, who is an actress, musical theater actress from Pittsburgh, and she was on Broadway, and what show was it that they were doing with Bob Fosse and Gwen Verdon, Bob's wife, Gwen Verdon, Chicago.
Chicago, okay.
and Lenora was Gwen's understudy, and Lenora knew Bob Fosse's technique down pat. When Gwen decided she was going to give Lenora her break and make her a star on Broadway, she bowed out of a performance, called all the critics, told them to come and see the performance. Lenora played on, and the headline in the paper the next day was Broadway has a new star.
Oh my God, I just got chicken skin from that. What an amazing story.
It shows you
Wow.
that the bigger they are.
Yeah, and the more they love it, they
Yes.
appreciate and respect what it really is. Oh, That's a wonderful story. I have to go to another break. See, they're just flying by like this. We will be right back. This is the Arts in Hawaii on the Think Tech Hawaii digital series. Stick around.
Aloha, I'm Jay Fidel. This is Think Tech Hawaii, broadcasting live from the Pioneer Plaza in downtown Honolulu. We raise public awareness about tech, energy, and globalism in Hawaii. Technology is critical to our state. A vibrant tech sector will give us new prospects in the global marketplace and will offer great careers and make our economy more resilient. Streaming live on Ustream and Spreaker, ThinkTech allows its hosts and guests invaluable opportunities to report important events and discuss important questions, and to be heard here in Hawaii and around the world. You can find links to our live streams on thinktechhawaii.com or on our mobile website, m.thinktechhawaii.com. And you can see our archive on YouTube. It's all just a click away. We want to do whatever we can to keep Hawaii relevant, connected, and thriving in the complexity of the 21st century. We hope you will help us in those efforts. Tune in today. This is Think Tech. I'm Jay Fidel. Mahalo.
Hi, we're back. This is the Arts in Hawaii on the Think Tech Hawaii digital series, coming to you from Pioneer Plaza in the heart of downtown Honolulu and very close to Kumukuhua Theater, I might add. I am Donna Blanchard, your host, and I'm talking with Burton White.
And we're not having any fun
And we're not having any fun at all. Going back to what we were just talking about, there is people who do Broadway shows really don't get rich, relatively speaking.
Well, they're ilk. You know, there's the pink contract, which is the chorus contract, and you can live modestly and pay for your voice lessons and your dance classes and things like that. Thanks to our union. And then there are the white contracts, and the white contracts run the gamut. You know, a local girl, Loretta Oblace Sayer, just recreated the role of Bloody Mary on Broadway at Lincoln Center for the next 2 generations, I'm sure. And Loretta actually had her first show was that production of Dreamgirls on stage at the Hawaii Theater.
Here.
And then she had done a couple shows at Diamond Head, and then she ended up being the definitive Bloody Mary for the new generations. It's it shows you what commitment and dedication and discipline can do to help you actually provide for yourself and do what you love to do. I mean, Loretta, most people know her as a fabulous, fabulous singer, and she's a great friend. And but when I watched her all 4 times at Lincoln Center, it just reminded me. I told her when we did Dreamgirls that she had enough talent then to be on Broadway. This was a woman who started out as the understudy for the leading part as Effie in Dreamgirls, and every moment that we were working with the original star of that production, Loretta was in the wings or on the sidelines in the rehearsal hall, going through the blocking, going through when she would catch the music director whenever she could and run, and with the idea that she could possibly never ever perform the piece on stage. And as it happened, the original star ended up being replaced by the producer, and when they came to us, we said it's a no-brainer. We need Loretta, and she brought the house down every time. And you know, and Loretta, I don't think she would mind me saying this. You know, who would think that you could live for, I don't want to say how many decades, but let's just say 4 decades before you get your big turn.
Yeah.
And how many people could remain dedicated to wanting to do that for that long?
Oh, dedication behind the scenes and preparation. I know, a lot of people will see the actor with their scarf, and oh, they're so dramatic. Well, you're taking care of an instrument that is your.
That's right.
You have to have it.
That's
you
right.
have to take care of it constantly and watch, caffeine intake before you have a show. And I remember a voice coach talking to me about you have to be careful of the way you cough.
It's absolutely true. I mean, when you're doing 8 shows a week and you're running in a show that is performing anywhere from 10 weeks to, in some cases, 10 years, you know, you really, that is not easy. And the most proficient singers that can sing in a studio setting or sing in a concert, they would never consider doing a second concert that day. But on Broadway, you're doing Tuesday through Sunday with doubles on either Wednesday and Sunday, and it's no big deal. And so you have to be in touch with your instrument, and you have to know how to care for it. So when they have their scarves on or when they have their leg warmers on, you know, people can think whatever they think, but it's only important that we know why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah. And those leg warmers are not just fashion.
Right? No. It's true. It's true.
How's your theater doing health-wise? Speaking of taking care of yourself.
Show business. We ran a deficit last year, and we ran a bit of a deficit the year before. Fortunately, good karma helped when we had some people that left us bequests that we weren't anticipating. And the last one, which was, I'm going to mention her name, Emily Castle, who was one of the dearest women that I've ever met, and very no-nonsense, and very huge supporter of the theater. She left us well in excess of $1 million of bequest, which was very helpful. So our balance sheet is quite good. We had the National Nonprofit Foundation come in and give us a report card about, I guess, 4 years ago. I think it was right after 2008, and they put us in the top 2% in the country. We have a large cash reserve, but it does not mean that we don't need continued support. A historic building is incredibly expensive. We just installed a new digital cinema system because there's no such thing as film anymore. It's all digitized, and that was a $500,000 proposition. And so the money can go quickly. And so in general, we're fine. The balance sheet is fine. What we're dealing with right now, and why the board just went through its strategic planning, is we're reviewing our business model the way it has been, and we're looking to see how we have to tweak it so that we remain vital in the future. And of course, there's always the issues of audience development, how to get young people in and engaged at an early age, so when they do go away to take care of career and family, that they will come back and support you when after the empty nesters, and when they're looking for other things to care for. So that's always important. And then, you know, the technology has such an odd effect on live performance, and on all different types of performances, whether it's music or dance or theater. This idea of seeing things on small screens or seeing things in small sound bites, it's hard to get a young generation that actually weans on that and get them interested in something bigger and bombastic. So that's one of the reasons that I go to New York to look at the new types of shows that are coming out. I actually, the year before last, I went up and they had a Romeo and Juliet that was very edgy, very kind of grunge, kind of urban, and the soliloquies and things were done via texting, so that you were just reading their text back and forth, and they were texting Shakespeare.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're limited only by our creative minds, and as everybody is, and you just try to retool the machine to make it adapt to the new time.
Yeah.
So by and large, we're still in great shape. We have plans for the future. Right now, we've invested a lot in retrofitting technologies in the theater to make us a greener space, with changing incandescent and some halogen technologies to LED, which reduces our electric bill. I mean, people were astounded when I told them that our electric bills used to be $38,000 a month, and they would say, "You mean a year?" And I was like, "No, I mean a month." Yes, and so our board has been very prudent, and Sarah has been very prudent about talking together with me to see how we could mitigate our operational expenses until we can get the earned income back to where it was before the recession started in 2008.
Oh.
So we're okay.
Yeah, you're doing
We're okay.
good.
We're doing better than a lot.
I just have a couple more minutes. Ian, do I have a couple more minutes? Yes. Okay,
Is that
good.
that man behind the curtain?
That's the man in my ear. Give me just a little bit of snippet of what we can expect to see, the direction that you're heading in, along with going green.
One of the things that we're looking at right now is I think that we're increasing some of our capacity in marketing and programming so that we'll actually be bringing in and producing more shows. I think that I've said that I think it's a natural progression. The state of Hawaii currently has no actors equity company, a professional acting company, and I think if we were going to try to have one, that it should be in residence at the Hawaii Theater. We have a number of members of Actors Equity that live in Hawaii. It's just that there's no opportunity for us to work, and so I think that that's a natural progression, that we wouldn't be necessarily in competition with the community theater, which I think is brilliant, but it would give some young people and community people that might look at a career in theater an option to work with other practicing theater professionals and help them make that decision, and also the networking. So I think that that's one of the things. I think that we are going to hopefully in our educational program, we're just talking right now about doing some kind of summer theater camp for dramatics, where we can do the mornings as kind of take care of theory in the morning and classes, and then the afternoons would be full of rehearsal, getting ready, and then we would fully produce their shows at the end of the 5 weeks or however long it would be. And then we continue to look at what we want the theater center to become. We have a new food and beverage interest coming into the adjoining theaters space, which the theater owns the real estate behind the theater. So in our old Indigo space, we have a new food and beverage concern coming in, and also looking for additional land acquisition, whether it would be the remaining building on the block that we don't own to maybe house the conservatory for our students. We just finished an annex, and then maybe even pick up a parking garage.
Nice. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It was great fun.
It was a lot of fun. I'm really glad about the conversation, and thank you for listening to our conversation, you little voyeur, you. We're out of time. We have to wrap it up. I'm Donna Blanchard, the very proud managing director of Kumukuhua Theater. The show is The Arts in Hawaii on the Think Tech Hawaii digital series, and we've been talking with Burton White, who is my brother, apparently. Thank you to our production manager, Ian Davidson, who's the man in my ear, our communications director, Chrissy Goffigan, and to Jay Fidel, who somehow manages to put it all together. Merry Christmas to you. I will not see you until the new year. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side. And like us on Facebook.